Meaning that they would just go after it and go after it and kill and kill and kill with no limits. Have you heard about the battle? The feud, actually, that they had over a camel race? There was a big camel race. And the winner of the race, a certain camel, another boy is jealous, so he picks up a rock and throws it and kills the camel. So they killed the boy. So those people killed their boy, and then they started killing each other, and you know how long it went? 40 years. To the extent that people couldn't remember what the battle was about anymore. Why are we killing these people? Over a stupid camel race. Now, aren't you glad we don't have camel races anymore? Of course, we do have football. Oops. It gets pretty rough too, doesn't it? But you can see, if you put it in context, this is nothing like what the people are trying to claim Islam is saying. But it's nothing like that. Especially because it has the warning marks in there. Stop if they stop. And it repeats that again, even after this thing about turning them out and everything. But still, if they stop, it's up to Allah. It's back to Allah again. Notice how many times when you're dealing with your enemies, even if it's in your house, you've got a problem with your wife, but once they stop, back off and don't keep jamming it in their face. That's in Surah An-Nisa. It doesn't say it like that in Arabic, but I'm trying to give you the essence of what it's telling you about. For sure, the more you study Islam in Arabic, and the more you understand how these things all fit together, there's no way you'd ever let anybody convince you that there's a single thing wrong with Islam. There's a lot wrong with some Muslims, no doubt. And I'll put myself in that category. But there's nothing wrong with Islam. Islam is perfect. Because Islam describes a relationship between us and our Lord. Islam is based on those words. You've heard me say it. If you know any of our programs, I say it in every program. Islam is surrender, submission, obedience, sincerity, and peace. And when those 5 things are together, and you're having this relationship with your Lord, that's the best relationship there is. He's the boss, and you're not. And as long as we adhere to this relationship with our Lord, doing what He wants us to do on His terms, we're going to be okay. But now, how do I respond when these guys come up to me? And I'm going to leave you with this and let you think about it. It doesn't matter how they attack you. It doesn't matter what they say or how they do it. Train yourself. You can go in front of the mirror so you can do this. So that you can be like the companions of Rasulullah and how they had to respond in those early years, especially before the verses came. Because by the way, you cannot get together and get a little group and go out here and do stuff like that today. That's not Islam. It has to be under authority. We don't have authority. You cannot do that. Okay? You are being tested. And this is your test. Just as it was for many of the Sahabi. Somebody come to you and insult you. Say something bad. Like some of the things I mentioned. Or to throw another one out. How come you guys worship a black box in the desert and kiss the ground 5 times a day? Thank you for asking me about my religion. Try it. Thank you for asking me about my religion. Thank you for asking me about my religion. How come your wife got that rag on her head? Thank you for asking me about my religion. In my case, how come you look like Santa Claus? Thank you for asking me about my religion, and you're getting nothing for Christmas. But seriously, you just be nice and tell him thank you. Because guess what? Now he's stuck. Because you acted like you didn't know it was an insult. And only the worst of the drunks is going to persist after that. He'll be like, Would you like to have the answer to your question? Would you like to sit down and have coffee? We can talk. Can I get your email? I'll send you something, or phone number. We can talk. Maybe you're in a hurry or something. It works. It's perfect, because they didn't come to really ask you. I told you, this is not about clearing up misconceptions. This is about the ones who came to attack. Now, some of them do it out of ignorance. There's no doubt about that, because they picked it up from people who are trying to program them to do this stuff. But some of them are exactly that. In any case, when you say, thank you for asking me about my religion, and you smile, they're going to go, okay, that's it. I'm out of here. And that's good. That's really good. But when it comes to the issue, if you happen to know the answer, the proper answer, you'd be surprised how many times it turns the whole thing around. Just turns it upside down and the other way. Here's one for you. When they ask you, how come a man can have 4 wives, but a woman can't have 4 husbands? Thank you for asking me about my religion. In Islam, there are 2 important things. I always say this. First is the truth, meaning that I have to say the truth, or I can go to hell. The second thing is the proof. Even if I make a mistake, you can find it out real easy, because everything of Islam, there's only one version. There's only one version of Quran. There's only one version of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's all one. So it's real easy. If Islam teaches it or doesn't teach it, it's known. We can ask any of our scholars, it'll be the same. So we have both. Truth, proof. We have the evidence. But sometimes questions have a problem in the question, because the question is the statement with a question mark. Let me give you an example. Somebody asks you, can you answer this question, yes or no? Answer. Only 2 choices you have is say yes or no. It's about your mother. Is she out of jail yet? My mother's never been. That was a yes or no question. But my mother's never been. Is your mother out of jail yet? Yes or no? Yes. Good. I'm glad she got out. So it didn't matter what you said. You're stacked up because of the way the question is. Yeah? So in this case, we have to straighten the question out. Oh, and there's one more little thing. And that is, while I'm giving you the answer, if you hear something that you like, you see the sense of it, the common sense, and you find that what you thought was actually upside down, are you going to be ready to reconsider your position and start to worship your God and my God without partners? Because, by the way, that's all Islam is really about. Worshiping God. That's what Islam is about. You ready for the answer? He's going to be going, huh? How did I get into this deal? Because you are telling him exactly what he needs to know. Islam is about worshiping God on his terms. Let's check that out. You asked me now about 4 wives and 1 husband, yeah? Well, according to Islam, there is something called no sex except in marriage. Now, the Catholic Church kind of goes to an extreme. For the most holy and righteous of all the men, or all the women, they have no sex, period, ever. Because they can't get married, can't have children, never going to have any grandchildren. Nuns, priests, bishops, cardinals, even a pope, never, ever, ever get married and never have sex. Well, at least they're not supposed to. That was the whole idea, wasn't it? But Islam is not saying that. It's just saying no sex that's not sanctioned by Allah, meaning you have to get married. Meaning you have to have a contract, a written contract with the lady, so that she has something to get her rights with. because when Islam came, women weren't getting their rights. But now, women get their rights. Women, and you can begin to explain how it is that in Islam, women have the right to own property. Women have the right to vote. 1,400 years. They didn't have to go through women's suffrage like we had in our country. Women have the right to be women. They don't have to be men to try to get money so they can have the things they want. They can just be women and stay home, do things at home, and still get money comes to them. How? Because it's the man's responsibility to take care of them, to bring them food, to bring them clothes, to help them with education about Islam especially. All the things Islam is providing, these people don't even know about this subject. And a woman who has even any kind of property at all, whether she's very rich or not so rich, never has to give a dime to support the household.